Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So when life deals you a challenge, how do you get up, dust yourself off, and keep on moving along? And I'm sure it's happened to you along the way. If it hasn't, I don't want to say wait for it, but it's part of life. Things are going to, pop up. I used to call them mountains. Now they're speed bumps. You just got to go over them. It's a thing called resistance. I'm sorry, resilience. One of my favorite words, actually. Side note, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I pick a word. And last year, my word was resilience. And that's how I piloted. She is going to give us insight on that. How do we look within to move forward? She offers spiritual, personal, relationship, business coaching. She does energy work, hypnotherapy, so many different modalities. This is something she's been doing for many decades. And she's back with us. Dr. Joanne White is on the program. How are you doing today?
Great. You're making me sound ancient.
I've probably been doing
I gotta use humor. That's part of resilience, right?
it's called experience and respect, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I used to be, I don't want anybody to know my age. I'm going it. It's like I'm proud of it now. And
I'm being playful, you know
no,
that.
I got you. I totally
You,
get you.
you
Listen,
know.
if I told you how many years I've been doing this broadcasting, you look at me like, "Are you kidding?" And it's no, it's real. Um, have the first paycheck to prove it. So
I don't need to see that.
yeah. So
All right. Yeah, resilient.
this whole thing, resilience. Um, how do you describe it? I really want to hear your definition of it.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit like life is going to give us stuff, and how we respond to it, the way we think about it, our perception about it is really critical to how we're handling the situation. And I've said, so resilience is about BAM. We have to learn how to bounce back, how to adapt to the situation, and how to manage going forward and manage what's going on at the moment. So part of it is how are we looking at a tragedy, a death, something that happens to us that's unexpected? Are we devastated? Do we feel that, why is all this happening to me? What are we doing emotionally and mentally and even physically to help us handle the situation? And many people, again, resilience isn't necessarily something that we're born with. We can develop it, and that's
Hmm.
really important. So bouncing back, recognizing that even though something devastating has happened to us or to our families or our community or whatever, we can. We have resources, internal communities, whatever it is, to be able to handle the situation and to come back from it without being totally devastated and lost and saying, I can't do anything, I'm useless, whatever. So when we do that, it's about having those internal resources that believe, it's also a belief system that we can do this, even though this is horrible or whatever it is happening, life is worth living. There is meaning in life. And what's important though is that we need to be optimistic, Steve. But if we are so optimistic that we don't really look at the situation, and that's key, because we do have to have some analysis about, okay, what's going on? What do I need to do about it? How can I handle it? How can I solve it? How can I move on? But if it's like glowing, oh, everything's just wonderful, you're totally out there. Now, I'm a
Mm.
very optimistic person, but I've had challenges and I've had to face them, but still believe that I'd be able to get through them. When I had a head injury and I fell down a flight of stairs, I really didn't believe that I was going to get through it. I couldn't talk. I couldn't put words together. I couldn't be on shows. I tried it with a friend of mine and I couldn't go from one sentence to another and it was horrible. But and I was thinking about this today as I was preparing for this a little bit. One of the things that really helped me was I reached out to people, created podcast that I haven't done yet, about looking at how people are handling incredible life situations. And what it did was it actually emboldened me. It gave me confidence. It gave me a sense of faith and belief that, wow, look at all these incredible things that people are doing to handle atrocity, to handle trauma, to helping others, their communities, their families, even animals. And it gave me a sense of hope and a sense of faith, and also a feeling of perseverance that I could move on no matter what. There were other people who suffered many, many more drastic things than I did and were able to bounce back. So sorry, I had a lot of coffee today.
All good. All good. I guess this is a little deeper question, but do you feel that since many of us are insecure, many of us come from a place of being or feeling not good enough, which I understand is like a classic for pretty much all of us. In some regard, we don't feel like we're good enough. Do you feel that those situations get in the way of our resilience?
Yes, they do. That doesn't mean that we can't move past them.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's important. But it's also like how we're framing the situation too. Okay, so I can't do anything. I have a poor self-image of myself. I can't do this. I can't handle it. Well, what if you shift it? Okay, so I may not always be able to handle situations, but I can tackle this one. Okay, so it's a tiny little shift. It didn't totally change your mindset, but it allowed you to handle whatever's going on at the moment. And you're right, we all have feelings of insecurity, and I certainly told you a lot about my story growing up and whatever, but we can learn from situations, and the beauty of handling a situation and being able to bounce back is it grows us. We recognize, wow, we did that.
Yep.
Look what we did. You know, where I work with clients a lot and they say, I haven't done anything. I can't do anything. I said, wait a minute. Let's look a minute at something that you did. And why not? And you've talked about journaling, and I totally support that. Why not jot that down? Why not look at something that you did that makes you feel good, even if it's a tiny little thing, and let's grow that.
Mm-hmm.
Because our tendency is not to look at those positive things. And as we do that, as we do grow the positives, we're recognizing, like, take this specific tragedy or atrocity that happened. Wow, I was able to handle that. I was able to, even though I didn't know what I was going to do a little bit and I was scared and lost some momentary confidence, I was able to push through it. And here I am. And that's
Mm.
amazing.
Do you feel I sense I know the answer, but I want to say it because it's something that I learned. Once you get past one challenge, it gets easier to the next one and easier to the next one and easier to the next one, almost to the point where when you're faced with something way back, you'd be freaking out. And now when you look at it, it's like, I'm going to worry about that. Maybe for a second you get triggered, like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. And then you're like, whatever. It's going to be all right. I'll work through it. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
It's like growing yourself and growing your strength. So as you're kind of building. So it's almost like building those blocks. So
Sure.
you went through one tragedy, you handled it, or one challenging situation, and you can look back and say, "Wow, I did that." And as you do, that confidence builds so that the next situation, even though it's difficult, can feel a little bit easier. That's
Yeah.
building that resilience too, and that sense of perception and that perseverance, and all of those go into resilience, which is really important. So yeah, I think it gets easier.
Yeah.
Even though some of the situations like falling, like having a head injury, didn't feel easy at all. But you know what? I have such a sense of gratitude from that experience. It sounds strange because I'm alive and I could be lying on the floor dead or whatever, and I'm alive to even be able to talk about it and share it. And to me, that's a blessing.
Yes. And I had a situation a few months ago, um, multiple health out of nowhere, not even close to what you're describing, but I was told 5 months ago I had acute laryngitis, had some kind of virus, other, weird. I've never not been able to talk. I've been doing this, like we said, a long time. Never had an issue. Went to the ENT. The ENT said, you may not be able to talk again the same way. You might need therapy to learn how to talk. By the way, don't push it because your throat could hemorrhage right now. I was like, this is what I do. This, and just as a human, how do you communicate when you can't talk? I walked out of that office. I'm going to be very honest here. And I felt lost. I went home, sat on my daughter's bed for a moment. She's 16. Didn't say a word. I got teary, put my arm around her. She had no idea what was going on. Walked up. I got up, walked out, and I said, I'm not letting that bother me. That's not, I had my moment. I'm going to move forward. And sure enough, a week and a half later, everything was fine. So he was off. He was incorrect, I believe. But it was one more of those, you know, don't worry about it until you have to worry about it. And that's where I think the resilience comes in.
Yeah, again, we can really look at a situation and get really all upset and worry about it. I always tell my clients, worry doesn't do a thing. It doesn't change the situation. It doesn't make it better. It just really disturbs your mind and your emotions and your sense of self and your well-being, and it's not worth it.
No,
It's really not. So oftentimes I say when you're looking at a situation and you don't have an answer and it's a future, whether it's a test situation or something medical or whatever, you tell your brain, I don't have enough information yet.
100%.
So shut up, please. Don't say, don't
That's
tell,
good.
I'm
Shut
joking.
up.
Don't tell you, well, do it nicely.
Yeah, and just brought back another memory. Um, uh, um, a month and a half after that situation last fall, I was told you probably have stage 3 cancer.
You
So
know, Oftentimes we're given diagnoses, and I always say, let's look at other ways. Let's focus on I work with energy, as you know.
yep.
We talked about this last time, like where you put your emphasis and your focus and your attention grows it. So why not think about something positive? You know, d- I, Medicine's great, but all the answers aren't in there.
No.
Really not. And that's important. Many years ago, when I had an injury to my knee, I don't know if I ever told you this story, and I was given braces to support my knee or whatever, which actually pulled out my back and it made it worse. And through this, I was trying to figure out, okay, I need alternative ways of healing. And so I studied Reiki, I studied acupuncture, I studied all different things, and I became certified in a lot of them initially to heal myself.
Hmm.
So when you look at a tragic situation or something that happens to you, in terms of thinking, well, what's the learning experience from it? How can I grow from it? How can I learn from it? So even though there were days of constant pain and I couldn't sit and I couldn't really do anything much, I was able to grow from it and learn, well, if I could help myself, because now I can dance and I can walk. I mean, I'm still in pain sometimes, but I decided I'm not having surgery. I'm not do da 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 da. Da. But the gift of it was okay. So it's time to help other people with what I've learned because I've been able to heal myself to a large extent. And that's important. So
Hmm.
whatever situation you're faced with, how do you view it? Do you see it like with you? Do you see it as a challenge that I'll never get through, or is it a learning experience, a growth experience, and maybe some aha moment whereby or wherein you can help other people and shed some light on other circumstances? And that's the beauty of our lives, I believe. Well,
True. Well,
there's,
well,
there's more to that, but
there's some that believe that we're here to learn and teach, learn and teach. So what you learned in terms of helping yourself through these modalities, you have taught others and showed them that it works. I wonder now we should live in the moment, right? Very important. I think we've talked about that in the past where you're living in the moment. There's no issues. You don't think about the past. You don't think about the future. You're just living in the now. And if you slice this second here, beautiful. Right here. Boop. What's wrong? Nothing.
Right. The only challenge, and I'm totally in support of that, but people's brains go, well, what's going to happen next week? Or what happened
I,
last
yeah.
time? Or what? Da, 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 da. And
Yeah.
it's, again, tell your mind, thank you very much. I'll take that under consideration or something so that you shut it down.
For sure. And the reason I brought it up is that I believe it helps us with resilience
It does.
because just with the health issues, they told me a couple of months ago I had stage 3 cancer. My gut says, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. And it was wrong. And that was just a couple of months after losing the voice and you'll never talk again.
Right.
But I, of course, what do you do in those situations? Thing with you presented with, potential medical challenges. You think to the future. What if I can't walk again? What if I can't do that? What if? But if you take it right down to the moment, you feel more empowered. Like there's
Right.
just more there.
Right. And then being empowered and feeling it is really very important.
Hmm.
And again, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And you can't change the past. You can't resolve something that you didn't do or whatever. I mean, you can make peace with it.
Sure.
And oftentimes I do go back in time with people and help them resolve an issue or handle it differently in their minds and in their emotions. But for the most part, focusing on what you have now with optimism, with faith, with strength, with perseverance, with resilience, and by that belief system, that perception that, you know what, whatever it is, here I am.
Mm.
And I'm going to be able to handle it. It may take time. I may not know all the answers. I may need some support. I may have to reach out to, but I can do it. So having that sense of self, and we don't often have that, and it's again something that we can build within ourselves, is really very important. And we need to do that. And we need to, hey, this is the moment. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, as you said. I mean, who knows? So let's celebrate tomorrow, today rather, and tomorrow.
Hmm.
But today mostly, I'm looking at your background and I'm loving it. I love the color. So it's like I'm
Thanks.
celebrating your background right now.
Is it
So,
is it hypnotizing you? Is that what it is?
yeah, oh yeah.
Everything has meaning here. One of my favorite artists above my head there is Sting, and I've met him. I've interviewed him. That's why it's there. He signed it
But
and whatever.
it's also the colors, the purple and I mean the hues that are really pulling me in. So
No,
it's
thanks. There's intention there. That's orange, and that's part of a logo for a marketing company that I have. And I'm attracted to that color. I want to ask you, Joanne, do you remember the moment where you said to yourself, I'm good. Like that, this resilience thing, maybe you didn't say in your mind, I'm resilient, but that feeling that you had where I got this and I'm in a good place. That aha moment. Do you remember it?
yeah. Well, often I have a lot of those now since I had to train my mind to like myself and believe in myself. Now I have conversation. Now people are going to say, "Oh, you are weird." Well, thank you very much. But but I mean, my mind will say, "Hey, Joanne, that's funny," and I'll say, "Thank you," or "That's you did that well, thank you," or So yes, and those moments are precious, and again, we need to honor them and really honor ourselves. We have
Mm,
more capabilities, despite our challenges that we're aware of. And it's beautiful. I believe like you that we are here to grow, to teach, to learn, and to get better than our yesterday's self.
sure,
And
sure.
we can always do that.
And we are better once we have resilience
Yes.
because we're one step further. I remember this was probably 4 years ago. I had a lot of challenges going on, potentially life changing. And I walked out of here. I was just, oh, I'm going to go get a coffee. I got some time. And I looked up at the sun, still remember the day, the angle of the sun. And I said to myself, you're good. You're all right. You got this. And I call that my quiet calm. It was just a quiet, like water rushed over me, like, all right. It was a weird feeling, and I remember it, but it was like I want to say sort of the turning point to this resilience situation.
And I totally, so I was thinking as you were talking, I was thinking of another situation too, because I think that's so important to be able to to see that. I remember with my head injury, I was in a whole lot of pain, and my doctor said I needed to walk. So I was walking. I don't think I shared this with you, but it was very profound. And I was feeling like, what's the use? Like, what? I was just really down. Okay, not in the resilient mode for sure. All right. But I heard a voice in my head as I was walking that said, "You got this." And I got you. And it was a male voice.
Mm,
And I mean, with that, Steve, I felt like no matter what, no matter the pain, the not a bit, yeah, can't talk, not able to talk or put words together or whatever, I was going to get through this moment. And it really helped me. So I don't know if that was the voice of my inner guidance, God, who it
sure.
doesn't matter. It was a reckoning for me that was really important and shifted the moment and allowed me to say, okay, it is what it is. The moment's here, but I'm going to make it through it
Mm,
and be okay. And those moments are so precious. Like what you got
yeah,
because it helps us have that sense of peace, inner peace, calm, and recognize that we can move on. We will move on.
for sure.
And
And
the moment is okay.
and not question the voice. Because when I heard that, felt that quiet calm, it's like, this is legit. And I'm sure it was for you as well. What's the best way for somebody to find you? Somebody's dealing with some challenges and they just trying to find that strength from within. Your website is your name, right?
Yeah, drjoannewhite.com. They can also reach out to me, Joanne at docwhite.org. I'm on social media. I love helping people and I
Mm.
believe I'm here to serve. So it's a wonderful way to be, kind of.
I agree. And I appreciate all your insight, including your transparency, because I didn't know that you further studied these modalities for your challenges. But ultimately, the lesson there was you're helping others with that. And you walk the walk and talk the talk. You talk about a certain modality. Yeah, it works. Worked for me. Appreciate you being here today. Really do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you and your background. Not only the visible visual background, but you.
And likewise, like your energy is just all good, and you can feel the passion of you wanting to help others. And looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. You too. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.